I'd like to call our January 8th, 2025 Roanoke County School Board work session to order. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Dr. White?
Here.
Mr. Linden?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Greenway?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Clemens?
Yes, ma'am. Item 2.01, election of chair, Dr. Ken Nicely.
All right. Well, good afternoon, members of the board. I want to officially welcome, of course, Dr. White to the board.
Thank you.
And look forward to working with all of you in 2026 in this new semester of our school year. At this time, we're going to begin by holding the elections for school board chair. So at this time, nominations are open for the election of the chair, and no second is required for these. And so we vote on them once we get the nominations. So ball's in your court.
Thank you, Dr. Nicely. Ms. Clemens has demonstrated strong leadership skills, the ability to foster collaboration, and has shown a strong commitment to our mission. Her ability to bring people together, work with the Board of Supervisors, and focus on the big picture makes her well suited to continue in this role. Therefore, I move to nominate Shelley Clemens for board chair in 2026.
Second, if you need it.
No second required, but
You just said that, but
right, that's okay.
So she just calls the roll.
Any other nominations? All right, Madam Clerk, if you'll call the roll.
Dr. White?
Yes.
Mr. Linden?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Greenway?
yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Clemens?
I'll abstain.
All right, at this time, we'll open up nominations for the election of school board vice chair. Same
Well,
process.
Yep, Madam Chair, Dr. Nicely. I don't have a speech made so eloquent like David Linden, but I would like to nominate Brent Hudson to remain our vice chair for this year.
Are there any other nominations? All right, Madam Clerk.
Dr. White?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Linden?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Greenway?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hudson?
Abstain.
Ms. Clemens?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, let's turn it back over to the chair.
Thank you. All right. Item 2.03, approval of the clerk. I recommend that Edie York be appointed clerk of the school board. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Dr. White?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Linden?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Greenway?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's go.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
Ms. Clemens?
Yes, ma'am. Item 2.04, approval of deputy clerk. I recommend Dr. Jamie Soltis be appointed to deputy clerk of the school board. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Dr. White?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Linden?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Greenway?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Clemens?
Yes, ma'am. Item 2.05, establishment of meeting dates, places, and times. Dates and times for scheduled school board meetings and work sessions are listed in board docs for adoption by the board. Is there a motion to adopt the dates and times as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Dr. White?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Linden?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Greenway?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Clemens?
Yes, ma'am. Item 2.06, appointments to committees. School Board Policy 2.08 lists various committees to which the board appoints individual members. The Special Ed Advisory Committee is a committee appointed by the school board and reports to the board. The Roanoke Valley Governor's School Board is an independent board that provides oversight for the Roanoke Valley Governor's School. The Audit Committee, CTE General Advisory Committee, and School Health Advisory Board are superintendent committees that make recommendations to the superintendent and his staff. I nominate the following board members to serve on these various advisory committees and boards. The Audit Committee, Tim Greenway and David Linden. Special Education Advisory Committee, Brent Hudson. CTE General Advisory Committee, Tim Greenway and Shelley Clemens. School Health Advisory Board, Ryan White. Roanoke Valley Governor's School Board, Shelley Clemens. Is there a motion to appoint these representatives as nominated?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Dr. White?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Linden?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Greenway?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Clemens?
Yes, ma'am. All right. Item 3.01, major construction project updates. Mr. Todd Kegels.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Nicely, Dr. Soltis, you might notice that the faces are a little bit different up here this week. Wes Mitchell has taken another position with a different company, so he is no longer with Skanska. So he has been replaced by Eric Burkholder. He'll take over as the lead at the CTE Center at RCCTC effective immediately. He's already there. Jason Pack with Skanska, who I'm sure you will remember, is going to do their presentation for them this evening. And then we have Kamal Khalil, who will do the presentation for the elementary schools once again.
All right, board members, good afternoon. It's great to be back here with you. It's been a while since I've been here before you, so I'm excited to present the progress that we've made. I think it's been since November, I believe, since our last presentation with you. So I'm just going to go through our past and current activities rather quickly. So at the CTE facility, the site work, we've got curb and gutter at the front parking lot. So that's the concrete elements that you see at the front parking lot. And then they've poured the rear course of asphalt there as well. They've got sanitary work along the east side that's tied into areas A and D. And I've got water service into the building. They're performing undercut and fill at area A and stockpiling rock from areas A and B. They've also had the light pole installation in the east parking lot. For area D, they've got the mechanical yard screen wall up. They're hanging grid, light fixtures, cord reels, and garage doors in the shop areas. And they've completed the canopy framing and installation of canopies. They're also priming and painting first coats of paint. They've got ceramic tiling installations ongoing. In area A, they have the installation of the grand entrance curtain wall, which we've got a photo of a little later in the presentation. Completion of the exterior stacked stone and brick in that area. Installation of some of the kitchen equipment. And again, priming and painting of the drywall on the exposed ceilings. In areas B and C, they've got the slab on deck concrete pours complete. Still working on the exterior brick and stone and the interior CMU. They have the exterior metal framing and sheathing is ongoing. Roof installation on both areas is complete. And then heavy mechanical, electrical, and plumbing operations continuing in both of those areas. And then they've got sprinkler piping installed in both areas, hanging and finishing gypsum wallboard in both areas, and then priming and painting in area B as well. So just to show you some photos here, we've got the light pole installation in the east lot on the left side there, and then installation of water lines to the building on the right side. We've got the overhead doors, the building trades garage doors there on the left side, and then on the right side, the area D canopy decking. And then here's that grand entrance curtain wall that I was talking to you earlier about on the left side. If you're driving there in front, you can see this from the road now. It's a pretty cool sight. And then we've got the kitchen hoods and walk-in on the right side. And then on the left side here, we've got area B and C, second floor slab on deck. After that was poured. And then area B and C, exterior framing and sheathing. And then on the left here, the drywall finishing inside the building near the entrance. And then priming and painting in area A in those shop areas. And then again, we've got a lot of photos this time because again, we're catching up on a couple of months of reporting here. But on the left, we've got the duct and wall insulation in area B. You can see the guy on the ladder there. He's installing duct insulation, and then the guy near the window is installing the wall insulation. And then we have installing exterior brick at area C as well. And with that, I do want to say that, Eric is coming off of a elementary school, a multi-phased, complex project in West Virginia, and starting on this project for you. So he's got a lot of experience with school construction. So you've got a good guy on site for you. But with that, I'll hand it over to Kamal to.
Before you do that, Jason, I have
Yeah.
one quick question. I'm sure all the board members are familiar with this vocabulary word, but it's a new one for me. I saw the picture where you said curtain wall, but I never heard that term before. What does that refer to exactly?
So it's basically any of those those high framed glass walls. That's we refer to that as curtain wall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. It's good to see all of you again. On the schools, we are lucky. The job is going really well. There's no ifs or buts. There's no glitches. On Conduv, as you know from past months before, we turned over like a few phases, like 1A, 1B, upper level and lower level, and the admin and the kitchen and dining areas. What we have is 300 punch list items that we're going through, some really small, some really big, but we're going through that for the whole job. What's new and open now, it's phase 3A, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's a typical of every level that we start the demo, as you know, and cut the floor with the concrete saw cutting, so we can install plumbing, piping, and stuff like that. And the electrical overhead, it's also going on with wiring and HVAC installation overhead. Also copper piping, like water, cold water and hot water. A sprinkler is also going on. And when we do that, we cap the concrete for these trenches so we can install the framing. We had a couple of sheer foundations with the brace columns. We poured a few concrete slabs. On the outside, we have a water line that we did over the Christmas holiday. We had to make sure that everybody's out, like no staff, no kids. Eventually, Hubbard just made the connection and tested it, and we were fine. Now, even like when I came today, before I came here, we're doing pipe for the switchgear and the transformer outside where the loading dock's at, and we're doing really good on that.
One thing I'll note before you continue on, in case anybody's not familiar with what a punch list is. So whenever you're turning over areas, you might find things like areas of the wall that need touched up, the paint needs touched up, or like a dirty ceiling tile or something like that needs replaced, things of that nature, minor items that doesn't prevent you from occupying the space, but you want to make a note of to the contractor so that they know to come back and fix those items.
The same thing is on Glen Cove, just down below the street. We turned over the last one we did is 2A kindergarten, the lower level. Like a week before the holidays, they just start moving in, the teachers. Also, we have a punch list going on with this school. And what's new is a 3A, the first floor. I mean, we got a lot of work from demo to cutting floors, installing foundations and columns and electrical overhead. The only thing that we haven't done yet is the framing. Like, we did some of it, but we're just waiting on the concrete to be done for these trenches, so we can do those framing walls. And in that, that when we do the framing, we start doing the drywalls, and we start button up stuff, so we can call this a room or a bathroom or stuff like that. The library also upstairs, we started the demolition like last week or the week before last, and that's going well. I got a couple of pictures I'll show you. On the outside, the parking lot work, over the holiday also, we did the cooling tower. And if you drive by the back of the school, it's a big operation. It's not a small operation. So that's being done as we speak. And the last thing is the light poles for the footings all around the school for the parking lot. That's going to be done pretty soon, in a couple of weeks, maybe, or 3 weeks.
Yeah. So you were asking Jamie earlier if I gave him time off. He did have to work over the holiday since the kids were
Just
out.
to make sure that
we wanted to get some
nothing
done.
happened.
Yeah.
No, you're good. we had to cut one of the one of the steel pipes in the dining area, and we wanted to make sure there's no kids in there. So it worked out really good. That's the logo for Condiv, and look at like when we start, just to show you the trenches for the plumbing. I mean, it's a massive operation. And the one on the left, that's the switch. I'm sorry, that's the water line that Hubbard did also over the Christmas holiday, so we can shut off the water and make sure that it's tested and ran perfectly. And that's when they moved in on the kindergarten section like a week before the holidays. Now they're occupying it. And the one on the left is for the switch gear. All the way back, you'll see there'll be like a big transformer like the one that's existing right there. There'll be like one just like it, and 3 or 4 maybe cabinets with the switch gear for the whole school. The one on the right, it's the same thing, like sanitary, but they already installed the pipe and they backfilled it, and all these trenches, they'll be covered with concrete. The one on the left for Glen Cove, the one down below, that cafeteria was turned over, but we had to do more work over the holidays just to make sure that everything's buttoned up and nobody's in there. Here, like when they start moving to the kindergarten section of this school right here, you could see the cabinets, some of the equipments they were like cleaning up, and it's going to be, it's already turned over to the school.
And Kamal, that cafeteria is done now, right? I mean, all
Correct.
the ceiling tiles in, it's all done.
Everything's,
now.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the last, like on the I put a picture before and after, so you could see. The kids were eating like that, so it's like kind of, you look up and it's like a scary feeling. But now the ceiling is up, and it doesn't look the same, but it looks much nicer.
They probably found that pretty interesting while they were eating that.
The one on the right is the demo that they started in the library section. What we do is we cover this section with a drywall, so we can separate the school in session with the actual work. These are heat pumps in the mechanical room, and that's when they came in with that big on the left, the cooling tower installation.
All right. So with that, again, thank you for allowing us to come here and present this information to you, and hopefully you enjoyed everything.
I was
you saw.
actually at Conduff this morning, actually Glen Cove yesterday, but Ms. McCallum was just reiterating in the preschool classrooms. I mean, for the first time, actually having the bathroom
Running
in the
water.
preschool classroom,
Yeah.
which is
It's nice.
things we taken for granted at the other schools for a long time. So it's just good to see all the progress.
It was amazing. We actually got them running water in there in that closet. It was about, yay big.
Big change.
Very
Any
nice.
questions for these guys?
Looks
All
good.
right.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next month.
Appreciate it. It's nice to meet you all.
See you, buddy. Take care.
Item 3.02, minor construction project updates, Mr. Todd Kegels.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Nicely, Dr. Soltis, we just have some updates on a few of the projects that we're currently working on. Out at Bonsack Elementary, this was funded, was a minor capital project. We've been working on it really since the start of the school year because we had to do most of this work when the kids were out of the building. So we had to do that on weekends and in this case over winter break. But that project is complete now. We carpeted the library, and these photos are of the library and the new carpet. And then the offices got the LVT flooring. And again, that is all complete now. So we'll take that off the list for the next meeting. Out at Northside High School, we had some science classrooms out there that the school had requested to have converted to family and consumer sciences. Board provided funding for that through minor capital, and that is complete now. We completed that over winter breaks. The winter break, they actually did a fantastic job of taking the old science cabinetry and countertops, cutting them up into new pieces, adding new, you can see new appliances, new cabinetry, and kind of reconfiguring the rooms. The stainless steel countertops, our guys did those as well. So those, the school's thrilled with the result. I'm thrilled with the result. Once we, this summer, they'll strip and wax the floors, so the floors will look new at that point, and the room just turned out great. Our guys did a fantastic job on that, and that project is also complete, and we'll take that one off for next time. Out at Hidden Valley Middle School, remember we have an ongoing project to replace all of the ceilings and countertops and cabinetry in the public spaces out there to improve the lighting and to get rid of the old ceiling tile that you can't source anymore. They did the first phase back at on election day. They did the second phase over winter break. They'll do the third phase over spring break, and then we'll finish up this summer. This is the before shot. You can kind of see these ceiling tiles here that don't match anymore because we actually have to like hand cut pieces to fit and try to kind of glue them in there and that kind of thing in the old ceiling. And you get an idea of the light levels, and then this is what it looks like after they've installed the new ceiling and the LED lighting. So again, we'll finish that up over the remainder of the school year, and then into the summer. Hopefully by the end of the summer it'll be completely finished. That was also a minor capital project. Out at Fort Lewis, all the masonry work has been completed. The only thing we're waiting on is for the new sign to be delivered, and that's supposed to come around the first part of February. You've seen the pictures of the completed masonry work, so I didn't put those back on this presentation. So the only thing new is just waiting on the sign to come from the sign shop. Glenver Elementary School, the staff restroom additions, also a minor capital project. In looking at that with the school, that's going to have to be a summer project. So I'm keeping it on our list just to remind us that we're doing that. We're going to maybe try to get started on some of the cutting up the concrete and doing the flooring out in the hallway over spring break. We haven't. That's going to depend on our contractor whether he says he can do that in 9 days or not. Otherwise, that's a summer project. Out at Cave Spring High School, the on that snack bar out there, the interior demolition is complete. The electrical service upgrade is complete. Remember, that was one of the big reasons we had to do it, was because they couldn't plug a hot dog warmer and a crock pot in at the same time without tripping the breakers, and we've taken care of all that now. That's just the new service panel right there. They've got now a new 200 amp service. We raised the height of the service windows, cut out, of course, a block and raised the height of those. Probably most of you guys haven't been inside the snack bar over there, but because of the way it was reconfigured over the years when they had done various renovations, the interior floor was too high relative to the window. So you would have to actually lean down to be able to serve people through the window. So we've taken care of that, cut out, of course, the block, moving that whole thing up. They'll have, they used to have these big heavy wooden doors that they had to lay down, and then they were in the way on the inside, is how that opening was closed off. Now they're going to have coiling doors, stainless steel coiling doors, new countertops, all of that stuff in there. So our guys are doing all the work for this. This is another minor capital project, and they're making great progress on it. Out at Northside High School, we're doing those new stadium lights. So over the break, all of the pole bases are in, the concrete's in, and over the break they completed all of the directional boring. That's a big deal because that means the 13-foot deep holes for each pole, plus all of the directional boring, which is you have a drill bit that comes in, it goes down, and then it turns and goes parallel with the surface. And in this case, it goes all the way under the field and under the stadium to the other side where the light poles are on the home side, to get electricity to those lights, and that's all done without any incident. So it's always a relief when that's complete, because you never know what you're going to hit, down that deep. So it's all done. The new electrical service is scheduled for next week to come from AEP. That'll connect to this panel here, and once that's done, they'll come back in with a crane, set the light poles on top of these stubs, and we'll get close to being done. So the plan is to still have that done before spring sports get started. And then last, out at Hidden Valley High School, it's the biggest one in terms of the cost. Putting in the artificial turf field out there, you can see the progress they've made. They've removed all the topsoil. They've got the subgrade established there. That's the dirt. They put the first layer of gravel down on the middle part of the field. and installed the drainage line. That's along the left-hand side there. They've installed the drainage line, and they are continuing the subgrade process with the stone. So the way this works, they'll put that fabric down. Well, you rake off all the grass, you dig a sort of shallow hole, get everything level. You come back, you put the fabric down, then you put a layer of coarse stone down, which has embedded in it the drainage system that brings the water over to this trench. Then you put a layer of fine stone over that. They'll come back and do the fine grade with the real fine stone, and then they lay the carpet right over top of it. And they think that the artificial turf could actually be delivered on site as early as next week. So, as you know, I was extremely hesitant to try to do this and get it in before spring sports, but knock on wood, right now they are making fantastic progress, and they're on schedule. So, I'm holding my breath, but we've worked out contingency plans with the schools and those sort of things if it doesn't get finished. But right now they're doing great. So that's just some additional pictures of what the site looks like right now. That's all I have. Do we have any questions about anything we haven't covered? Okay.
Thank you. Item 3.03, review of general budget development process, Dr. Ken Nicely and Ms. Susan Peterson.
All right. Well, good afternoon. Our agenda was otherwise pretty light today, obviously. So we thought Ms. Peterson kind of did board development overview, the budget development overview back in December, but some time has passed here. We're getting ready to really go into full gear with that whole process. And just with kicking off the new school year, we thought it'd be worthwhile just to do a brief review of that process. And again, emphasis on brevity. We have no meat yet as far as revenue numbers, expense numbers, or new requests and that kind of stuff. That process, as Ms. Peterson will explain, will get kicked off next week as far as meeting with department chairs and so forth. But we did want to again just kind of review the process. So, do you have do we have slides to show? We can show up there, Ms. Peterson. You've got those right there. Okay. You also have a hard copy of that. So everything, just to kind of put everything in context. As a school division, we ask the schools to do the same thing. We'll move on to the next slide there, Ms. Peterson. But everything that we do in terms of prioritizing and decision making and so forth all stems from what we refer to as our sea change framework, which it's in your policy, and school board policy is the very first thing that we refer to in terms of our vision for our district. Everything we do really needs to emanate from what we're about as a school division, and it really helps to be reminded of those things when it comes to having to make tough decisions. And budget time always involves making tough decisions, and so one of those things needs to be, okay, where does this fit into what we're about as a school district? So our Sea Change framework, of course, represents our comprehensive vision for our district, and it's all about preparing every single student, every day, every classroom, every school to be opportunity ready. So at the heart of our Sea Change framework, it's all about learning, right? Why do we send kids to school every day? It's to learn, right? So we learn knowledge, we learn skills, we learn mindsets, we learn how to get along with one another, all kind of things we're learning. But when we talk about deeper learning, that's really this idea that we want learning that's engaging, learning that's purposeful. And that should affect every single lesson, every single day in our schools. We've obviously had lots to celebrate in terms of the results we've gotten from student outcomes, focusing on that, not just on the knowledge, and when it comes to things tested by test scores and things of that sort. We are hitting way above our weight class on that front, as compared to the 131 districts in Virginia, and very proud of all the work that our teachers and principals and students do every day. But it's more than that. It's about the skill development, that idea of being opportunity ready. We know that the Sea Change framework says that none of that happens in a vacuum. It takes everybody working together, working on climate, which means safety, security, having kids have that sense of belonging and making sure they're connected to what's happening in schools. Those are foundational principles that have to be in place. The learning culture, that we get excited about learning. We have teachers who get excited about not just whom they teach, but what they teach, and it's contagious. And kids know the difference. When you're in a class, when everybody's excited about what we're learning, we can't wait to learn about whatever concept is going on today. I was at Glen Cove yesterday. I asked the fourth graders as they were exiting to the bus, "What'd you learn today?" Probability. whoa, that's pretty impressive, you know. And they also chimed in on the Constitution. And I thought we're doing pretty good in fourth grade if they're learning some of those concepts early on. So, but the learning is taking place, and it's exciting when the kids are excited about what's happening. Of course, all the things that make that happen, support, that's where the budget, finances, our technology, all the resources that come together, the training, the professional growth, all of those things work in concert in very complex ways to make that happen. So we can move on. So we of course make that very real in our district in terms of our Opportunity Ready graduate program, our profile of our graduates over there on the right. So all the things that we're doing to make that real for our students. And you can go to the next slide. So when we think about being opportunity ready, that of course we define that as our students being equipped with the knowledge, skills, and dispositions necessary to thrive, to be successful. So we have some really tangible things going on right now through student-led conferencing, which is coming up soon in our elementary grade. That'll happen in April in the middle schools. At the high school level, that the senior defense, that portfolio development, that evidence of skills that kids are graduating with. And of course, last year we graduated the very first 300 students with their Opportunity Ready diploma seal, and this year we expect to double and triple that. So in fact, I was talking with our SAC group last evening and talking to the seniors about that, making sure everybody's on the same page, and it sounds like the schools are well on their way with that. So of course, all the things that in terms of decision making, Susan, go on to the next slide. Everything in terms of decision making, setting priorities, how to spend our funds, aligning all of our resources, how to determine staffing, all of that should be informed through the lens of this big comprehensive vision that we call our Sea Change framework. Just a reminder of some procedures and practices, protocols, principles that we sort of live by in terms of the decision making. We recognize when it comes to budget time, there are some variables we can control, and there are some that we really don't. Things like fixed utility increases and things of that sort. There are some things that are beyond our control. Even things that we feel like we don't have a lot of control of, we still need to have the mindset of negotiating, exploring alternatives, trying to economize, and of course, making sure all of our decisions align with that Sea Change framework, which we really strive for consistency across the division. That's important for a division our size with 27 schools and all the folks that and all the buildings that comprise that. But we also recognize there are individual needs across the district. There are times when this school needs something different, compared to other schools, and so we kind of keep all those things in mind. Gathering input from stakeholders is really important throughout that process. Ultimately, adopting a budget is in the hands of you all as a school board. But I know you all value hearing from what the schools need, what departments need, what students think about this, and parents and everybody else. Of course, we can't do it all. We're going to have limited resources, and so we have to, at the end of the day, through the budget process, prioritize. Those tough decisions. We're always evaluating our spending. Just a reminder to the board. I mean, for this current school year, leading into FY26, we did a lot of work last year in terms of reducing some department budgets, some positions. I think we saved in the neighborhood of $900 and some thousand last year in terms of some position reductions and so forth. One of the exercises we did last year, to remind the board, is looking especially at central administration positions and how do we stack up compared to other divisions that are like us in similar size, similar demographics, similar material and financial resources. And so we actually sat down physically with 2 or 3 other divisions that are like us, and we found they said, look, you guys are getting a lot of bang for your buck, because we really are pretty lean and mean when it comes to getting done what we do compared to the number of positions that we had. So I know that comes up from time to time. I just want to reassure the board that is something that we're very mindful of. But truly, when you compare us with other divisions our size, we have far fewer positions than those other districts and get a lot done with it. Of course, at the end of the day, we're trying to make student-centered decisions, meeting needs, and we can't do any of that with our human resources, our teachers, our aides, our staff, everybody. And so continuing to keep that as a priority, recruiting, retaining high-quality human resources, of course, is hugely important. And that's always important to keep in mind during the budget process, because as we consider new spending requests and so forth, everything that we do that's new, of course, limits our ability to maximize the salary increases. And so those are things we've been through and go through every year. Those are just reminders, as we go through this process, not only for us as a board, but also anybody who's kind of observing this process. So Ms. Peterson's going to quickly walk us through just what the steps are, and we'll go from there.
Thank you, Dr. Nicely. And this is mostly what I presented in December. I just wanted to give you a refresher. I do want to do a shout out, Dr. Nicely. I think that was a wonderful introduction and beginning of budget to bring us back to our core beliefs, our core values, our strategic plan. Best budgeting practices is to always link what you're spending to your strategic plan. And so I think that's a really great way to move forward, because it's always good to have that in the back of your mind. And I do apologize for, I think there was a ghost in the computer. Some of these slides were moving on their own, and I was not even touching the mouse at some of these points. So Dr. Nicely has already given us a lovely introduction. I'll review the budget process, talk about the budget adoption basis. There are two different bases we look at. And a quick review of the 26 budget of revenues and expenditures, just to remind everybody of the numbers that we're talking about. The Virginia budget timeline is in here along with the counties and then our calendar. And there are a couple of changes to the calendar already that I'll emphasize. So first, the budgeting process is a 4-step process. It begins with kind of the next several months. It's the planning going into the budgeting. We're establishing goals. We're linking them to our strategic plan. We have adopted a calendar, approved a calendar. We are going to forecast the revenues going forward. We will identify priorities. We have already received a bunch of priority requests from the different departments here at Central Office, and we will analyze those in department meetings that we will have next week with all of the departments. We will have meetings with the SAC, the RCCPO, with the EAC, with principals, just to keep everybody up to date with the progress of the budget. We will have a public hearing next month. This is required by law, and we do it every year. And then communications, I always push out the budget blog and attach everything to the finance website, so anyone, we attempt to be as transparent as possible, and anyone can access the materials whenever they need. The adoption will occur in March when you adopt the budget, and then through the county approving the ordinances, appropriating the funds to us in May. The execution of the budget, it really begins July 1st when we load the budget and we operate and we buy stuff and spend our money down, and we have employees working and we pay our payroll liabilities, and we report monthly to you. So that's really the execution. And then the evaluation are the results of the whole year that we have come to. It's our carryover balance. It's our annual audit. It's our ACFR, the really gigantic book in front of you that I expect you to pick up and read every night. It will be a good way to help you fall asleep. Some of that stuff is not necessarily riveting unless, you are money dorky, kind of like me and my team. No offense to my team back there in the corner. So then what I wanted to share with you kind of up front is we do adopt our budget in two different ways. We present to the school board the budget based on funds. And if you think of a fund, you've heard me say this before, think of it as a bucket of money. It is set up for a specific purpose, and it always balances. So your revenues and expenditures balance. And the way that our relationship with the county is, general fund has a specific way of how we carry over the money and where we allocate it after the close of the fiscal year, but all of our other funds are allowed to retain the money that's sitting in them. And this is really critical for us because it allows us to do long-term planning with transfers to smooth out any hiccups we see coming down the road. And so you can see on the screen, I won't read them all, but you can see all of the funds. We've got governmental funds, proprietary funds, and a fiduciary fund. but I won't go into the details of them right now. The second way that we adopt the budget is through the Board of Supervisor ordinance. And they have chosen to adopt our budget based off of instructional category. These are the state code major classifications that they use. This is a challenge for us because unlike the county who operates based on function, we don't necessarily do that. And the biggest hiccup is the box down at the bottom, technology. Every single one of our departments use technology. And so they all have to budget their software into that account so that we can report to the state correctly. And so that's a kind of harder thing for our departments to do because they don't necessarily know always how much they're going to spend on a computer or a mouse or telephones. All of that has to be coded to the technology. Now, the majority of instructional expenditures will be in instruction. Your elementary department will be an instruction majority, but you do have these other categories out there. So that is the challenge, but that is what we are required to do. And I do bring that forth for approval by you and then the Board of Supervisors. So just to do a quick review of the budgeting process, we have money coming in, and the biggest pot is coming from the state. A large chunk of it is coming from standards of quality. This is usually based off of March 31st ADM, and it is applied against the local composite index. It is the beginning of the new biennium, and at our work session at the end of the month, I will go into grave detail of what our projected ADM budget will look like and what our local composite index turned out to be for this next biennium. And I'll let you know the local composite index was a little good news for us, but that's the only teaser I'll give you. We also get categorical and lottery funds from the state. The other large chunk of money that we receive is from the county. This is local revenue, and it is based off of a revenue sharing agreement that is adopted by the Board of Supervisors, the formula itself, in the county's comprehensive financial policies. And so I can share that with you if you want to see the nuts and bolts of that. And typically I may mention this again when we get to the calendar, but we'll know this around February is when we typically get the revenue sharing agreement numbers from the county. And then our other source of money can be federal funds, other money. These would include grants, E-rate, Medicaid money. So that's a much smaller amount. And if you pay attention to these colors and remember the state, the county, and the other, this is what our general fund budget looks like for the current year. So just to give you an idea, yes, the state is 54% of our pot, the local revenues are 45%, and then all of the other money is much smaller. So that's where our money comes from. Now let's do a real brief of where it goes. So the largest chunk, as you can imagine, is our human resources. It is our compensation and benefits. So for this, we look at staffing. That's how many positions do we have and where are they located. We also look at wages. We have two salary scales. We have a teacher, librarian, and school counselor scale, and we have a non-teacher, librarian, and school counselor scale. And they have a relationship to each other. And every year we look at the scales to see how much of an increase we can give to everyone overall, in addition to providing everybody a one-step move up the scale. So that on the teacher side, librarian and counselors, that would equate to their years of service. But for everyone else, it does not necessarily equate to the years of service. It's just them progressing along the scale. And then we also look at benefits and, the hot topic, I'm sure you all recall from last year, is health insurance. And so that I do imagine will be another year of grand information. And what I keep hearing from other localities are they're seeing large increases in their insurance as well. So I don't know if that's they're catching up to us and we hit the bad year first, or if we're going to continue down a bad year. We do have new insurance consultants that we are actually meeting with tomorrow so that we can start that ball rolling. We will bring to you all of the compensation information at the second work session in February so that y'all have all that. We look at the current needs, and so that's going to be what the departments and the schools need just for the current year upcoming. That's what most of our meetings next week are going to be about. And we let the schools and the departments know if a school needs something, they should let whatever department that would be over that need know so that they can include it in their budget. That's the most streamlined way we have to address both needs. And then finally, for long-term planning, I have a slide later on this, so I won't go into much detail, but this helps us for several years out identify which years are going to be high capital needs so that we can adjust transfers slowly so we don't have one big large hit going forward. And also, we have a financing arrangement with the county in regards to our CIP, and so it also allows us to plan specifically. We know what years they are allocating us bond money, and we can plan when our next 3 school big projects are going to be. I thought I'd get a chuckle out of that. Because, everybody wants to do 3 schools at one time again.
Well, honestly, I was thinking about, could we ask the Board of Supervisors if they would give us the full amount of revenue sharing this year instead of keeping a couple million? Is that possible to have that conversation, that they actually give us the full amount of the revenue sharing this year?
We can speak with administration.
Yeah,
and see what they say.
instead of withholding a couple million. I mean, that would go a long ways towards our health reserves too.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you.
So that the expenditures, this is just in the general fund. I think this is a telling slide. 73% of the budget expenditures for the current year does go towards the general fund for wages and benefits. So you can see how much we do spend: 114 million in wages, almost 19 million for VRS benefits, 17.3 million for health, 8.7 for taxes, and then it gets lower for dental and other. For VRS, so Dr. Nicely, Dr. Soltis, and I were at a conference early this week and heard from Miss Bishop, who is with the VRS, and I was really intrigued to find out the Virginia VRS pension plan is the 15th largest pension plan in all of the United States. And teachers are the largest part of that plan. So I thought that was really interesting to hear. We also have teachers are the longest folks in the plan and the oldest retirees in the plan. So
teachers live a long time. What's the taxes portion?
FICA.
Okay.
So then with the long-term planning, I said we'd have a slide in this. In the general fund, we use money, a transfer line in the general fund, and we put money into these other funds, the fleet replacement fund, instructional resources, technology, and capital fund, so that we can buy buses, adopt textbooks, and have materials in hand, replace technology, buy new technology, build buildings. The replacement plans vary in year. They're from 5 years up to like 20 years. And so we can look years out and know what is going to be a hard year. And we plan to cover that year using current money. And it keeps us from having one-time very large chunks of money going into buses. We have a certain amount that we always put in there for buses, and we replace a certain amount every year. So that's just a strategic manner that's been set up for years, and we're just continuing. Nutrition Services Fund also has their equipment plan, but they fund their own using their own money. So then the Virginia budget timeline, I won't beleaguer this because I did talk about this previously, but just, the next date that's really important on here is next Wednesday, the General Assembly will convene, and that will start us open the gates and we'll start running towards the finish line. And then the Roanoke County timeline was in here. This is pulled off of their budget calendar. So just to let you know kind of where we fit in with their timeline. And then this is an ugly, it's okay in paper format, but in the screen it's very small. I acknowledge that. This is the budget calendar that you approved at the last work session with a small minor change, and I probably should have marked this, but I'll highlight it with a pen. We had these two dates as being the ending of the budget, but we have moved the work session up to March 11th. And then we put a budget hold on March 30th, and we're going to adopt the budget on March 31st. And so that's a little bit different. And so since we're going to adopt the budget on March 31st, it is due to the county by the end of that night, and on April 1st, it is due. So just the remaining schedule is the same as before. And that's it. So if you have any questions.
Just one unrelated, when is it you're presenting for the year end 24-25 numbers to the board?
So next Tuesday is the second reading of the ordinance by the Board of Supervisors.
So
that'll-
she should bring it the first time in December.
Correct.
and the second one will be the 13th.
Yes.
And then they adopt it that night. Or,
Yes. And then we have our money.
okay. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anything else? All right, meeting adjourned.